Hey, I'm Kevin. I stopped for a late lunch break here at Jason's Deli. You ever had Jason's Deli? It's really good. But this is today's wallpaper 4. So we got 4 teams, 4 completely different eras, and today's wallpaper 4 gives us one guy who had the best season of his life in Houston. One NHL lifer who had one season in St. Louis. A warrior from the strangest season of the Dynasty era, and a Carolina Panthers first-round pick whose NFL career ended much earlier than anybody anticipated. This is Wallpaper 4 for August 14th, 2026. And I'm starting with Carolina Panthers and Jason Peter. Peter came into the NFL with a serious resume. At Nebraska, he was part of one of the most dominant stretches in modern college football history. During his 4 seasons there, Nebraska was 49-2. They won 3 national championships. Peter was a consensus All-American in '97, and Carolina took him 14th overall in 1998. So he wasn't a developmental prospect. They thought they were getting a cornerstone defensive lineman. Initially, Peter played like somebody who might become exactly that. He started 11 games as a rookie, then 9 more in 1999. That second season was probably his best as a pro. 4.5 sacks in only 9 games. But injuries kept getting in the way, particularly neck stingers, recurring neck stingers. Neck stingers? Yeah, Peter only played 38 NFL games, all with Carolina. And he recorded 7.5 sacks before his career ended after 2001. And I think guys like Peter are worth... I think guys like Peter are worth another look, because draft position sometimes tricks us into thinking every career has to become a 10-year story. But it doesn't. Jason Peter was here. He was part of those very early Panthers teams. And for a short time, Carolina genuinely thought number 97 was going to be part of its defensive future. So now we jump from Charlotte to Houston. Franklin Stubbs. And Stubbs arrived with the Astros in 1990 after 6 seasons with the Dodgers. LA traded him to Houston right before the season, and what happened next was pretty simple. Franklin Stubbs had the best year of his major league career. He got into 146 games, he hit .261, 23 home runs, drove in 71, stole 19 bases. Those home runs and RBI were career highs. But think about that combination for a first baseman for a moment. 23 home runs and 19 steals for a first baseman. Yeah. And he'd already won a World Series with the Dodgers in '88, but Houston gave him something he really hadn't had the previous year in LA, regular playing time. He took advantage of it. He even finished the 1990 season by earning National League Player of the Week. God damn it. Player of the Week honors. But here's what makes Stubbs a perfect wallpaper for a player. 1 season as an Astro, 146 games. Then he signed with Milwaukee. And if you only casually remember Franklin Stubbs, you picture him as a Dodger. But his best single season was in Houston, and it was arguably the best individual season he ever had. So now we go to St. Louis for another 1-year stay. Radek Dvorak. Unlike Stubbs, Dvorak played in St. Louis very deep into an already substantial career. He was the 10th overall selection in the 1995 NHL draft. He played for Florida, the Rangers, and the Oilers. Immediately before joining the Blues, he'd gone all the way to the 2006 Stanley Cup Final with the Oilers. Then he signed with St. Louis. Dvorak he played all 82 games for the Blues in 06-07. He had 10 goals, 27 assists, 37 points. The Blues weren't a playoff team, and Dvorak wasn't there long enough to become one of the names permanently associated with Blues history. But I love players like this. Because if somebody tells you that Radek Dvorak played more than 1,200 NHL games, you probably believe them. And then, if they ask you to name every team he was on, that's where St. Louis might disappear from memory. Because he played exactly 1 year there, never missed a game, contributed 37 points, and moved right back to Florida the following season. And finally, we got the Golden State Warrior and Omari Spellman. And this one comes from the lost season, 2019-20. Kevin Durant was gone, Klay Thompson was out, Steph Curry played 5 games. The Warriors that just spent 5 straight years in the NBA Finals, they went 15-50. Yikes, right? So Golden State started figuring out what it had elsewhere on the roster. And Spellman really played pretty well. He appeared in 49 games. He had 7.6 points and 4.5 rebounds per game and shot 39% from three-point range. For a 6'8" big man, that shooting matters, right? But Spellman's most important contribution to Warriors history might have happened when he stopped being a Warrior. In February 2020, Golden State sent D'Angelo Russell, Jacob Evans, and Omari Spellman to Minnesota. Coming back, they got Andrew Wiggins and a draft pick, and that became Jonathan Kuminga. Cool, right? That's one of those transactions where a player who seems like a tiny piece of team history suddenly connects to something much bigger. Spellman played 49 games for Golden State, but trace the transaction tree forward, and he sits right on the road between the wreckage of 2019-20 and the team that climbed back to the top of the NBA. So there they are. Jason Peter, Franklin Stubbs, Radek Dvorak, Omari Spellman. That's 4 players who didn't necessarily define their franchises. And that's not really the point. The point is they were there. They had their moments, their seasons, their opportunities, or their strange little place in the chain of events that became franchise history. And tomorrow, I'll change the wallpaper and find 4 more dudes. Hey, I'm Kevin. Thanks for stopping by. I hope you watch another one. Have a good day.